All right, welcome back to AriasWave, the update you've been waiting for, maybe. So, do I still believe this is going down? Yes. Did it look weird how we had a move up earlier? Yes. Right. Now, I said we need to wait for confirmation. And if you decide to short this, it's at your own risk. Like, at the end of the day, you need to be absolutely 100% confident in what you are doing when you are putting money on the line. That's how I see it. You need to have that conviction that you can't shake, because if you don't, you will get shaken out. That's basically how it works. It's always worked that way, and it's always been quite annoying when you don't have that confidence, which is why I sound the way I do when I make these videos. Is because if you don't have some kind of confidence in your trade, your account won't grow. That's basically what it comes down to, right? Um, Whenever you make money in the market, it's only because you left the trade on, because ups and downs will shake you out regardless. I mean, you can use your moving averages and all that stuff as much as you like. That's fine. But this analysis is also using waves, wave analysis. It's not Elliott Wave, it's AriasWave, and it's very specific. We expect this at this time. When this happens, that's it. It's over. The correction is done. We are moving down. Wave three is about to start. These are big words, right? And they can only be said when you understand the pattern, right? You can't really say that with Elliott Wave. Well, you can, but there's always alternative counts and it's wrong. And the only time I'm wrong is when I get the identification of the wave wrong, right? Now, we haven't confirmed this and it's starting to move up, which I'm glad, because you see, I take positions up and down when I see the pattern, I understand. Yes, I'm shorting this. We haven't seen confirmation, but I'm very sure about the pattern. Why? So let's go down to the 5-minute chart. If we zoom in here, we could see that yes, we have a wave one down. Okay. So let me put this into perspective for you. Let's drag this one over here and turn it into a numerical one, right? So what that means is that anything after this is corrective until we have the end of wave two, right? So when I short this, I'm shorting it knowing that there's probably going to be a whole bunch of nonsense going on, which will kind of make sense as it unravels, which it's starting to now. It's starting to, pretty good. And obviously going to cover that now. So the first move up was a wave A. This move down is a wave B. What you saw almost break the high, which didn't, was a wave C. Right now, if you're an Elliottian, that would be a truncation of wave five. There's no such thing as a truncation. The markets are very specific in how they operate, right? The only thing that's wrong with um, some analysis is that you're using the wrong methodology, right? Elliott Wave is absolute garbage. And I say that with a lot of confidence, right? Because, like my understanding of the pattern expects this pattern to happen. Maybe not so large, absolutely not so large. It's pretty big. But it didn't break the high and it reversed back and broke its low. It broke its low. So that's nothing. It's a nothing burger, right? It's a wave C, right? Wave C followed by, we need now a wave D. I'm glad you learned the alphabet. So that means that, well, let me just tell you this. Wave D is a breakout wave. Whenever you see a wave D in this sort of context, it's a breakout wave. That's the wave that breaks us out of this area. So what's it doing now? It is basically, well, it created the first part of it, right? It created the first part of a zigzag wave D. So obviously you saw this zigzag right there, right? Well, you haven't seen wave D. Yeah, wave B looks impressive. Wait till you see wave D. It will do something like this smack. It'll smack down and break that low, which will shake people. It will shake people to the core, right? Because they're going to realize that what they thought was going to happen probably isn't going to happen, right? And if you're an Elliottian, watch out, you don't know what's going on. So, what's going to happen after that is it's going to basically uh, stop a lot of people out, and then you're going to get wave E bounce. And at that point, people are confused, but they'll still buy it. They'll still buy it because they don't know what the hell's going on. They just want to make money, god damn it. So they'll buy that, and then it'll go back to a certain level before pullback. I don't know. I've still got the old fibs on. What the hell? Okay, right. So in terms of where it goes back to, well, it can go back to the end of the first wave, right? It can. Remember, we've talked about this before. If you've been watching my previous videos, it can do that. But what do people see? That's sort of where you measure the. Well, actually, we're not going to talk about that yet because I'm getting ahead of myself. So the first thing we need to do is basically wait for a pullback, trade that down because it's going to break through. It's going to break this low, but it may not do it. It usually doesn't do it straight away. It usually doesn't do it in the first part of the wave D, right? It usually does it in the second part of the zigzag, right? So at this point here, this might be a good trade up, depending on if this is not something that, like, it's not something else, right? Because this particular wave here is a bit funky, right? If you have a look at the internals, there's a lot of overlap. So the only way I can count this as a proper 5-wave move is that it's complete already, with very sharp corrections. It's very sharp. It's alarmingly sharp, these corrections, right? The market's volatile, and these corrections are very sharp. It's ridiculous. So I'm looking at a potential here for a small, tiny AB and potentially a C up, right? Another C up, right? Basically one of these suckers again, right? But maybe not as big, but something to that, you know, extent. Well, it's basically the same wave. If this is correct, like A, B, where's your C? Incoming, right? Like sometimes I like to just take a look at the beginnings of the one that happened before it, basically, and you can see a lot of chop in the beginning of it, and it doesn't necessarily start off sharp, not all the time, especially in corrective waves. Here, it looks like it's doing the same thing, except you're looking at it from this point here. This is AB, so this is just a C wave up here. This would be, so you'd start thinking that right here. What's this? Oh yeah, it looks like it's doing something, broke through the 50 period moving average. There's a chance it's going to do that again, right? Because it's Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin does this. Bitcoin is insane. Like the price action on Bitcoin has always surprised me like a lot, like big time. Always very surprised. Man, I've seen some crazy moves with Bitcoin. It's such a crazy asset. Like it's insanity. So this is why I think people like to trade it, is because you can make some good money and you can also lose some good money. So you got to be careful. Be careful what you're risking. Risk enough so that you don't lose if you lose one trade. Right? You wanna be in it for the next trade. You don't want to be in it just one trade and you're out, right? Because you're probably going to lose a couple, right? It does happen. You tend to lose a couple. It's part of life and learning until you master, just like playing a game, master the art, whatever, right? And then you might get less losses, but you'll never get no losses. So at this point, we're looking for at least 50% pullback. I would say at least 50%, but you never know with Bitcoin. It can go to, 80%, whatever. And then we're going to look for another leg down, which will break this. It will break it, right? And then the bounce. So I know I've gone on and on about this constantly, but I suppose I'm just trying to give you a feel as to how I see this being, very legit and no BS, right? I don't like BS. BS doesn't help me trade, right? Elliott Wave is BS. That definitely can't help you trade, right? So I think this is definitely getting ready to roll over and break it and just fall out the bottom like a sack of shit in free fall, right? I understand the people have these comments about demand, and there's the demand shock, and there's always a demand shock. It's always there. The demand shock is always there. The price don't give a shit about demand shock. The price acts accordingly. This is very important, right? You could always pull out any narrative that you want. It's confirmation bias, right? Be careful with that because you will delay your retirement savings from growing or something, right? You don't want to do that because you need to keep it real with yourself, not try and fool yourself because you are telling yourself to do things like invest in something, but you are also fooling yourself into doing it because you have two sides. You have the greedy side and you have the careful, fearful side, or the knowledge side, right? You have the monkey brain, right? And you have the, you know, super intelligent human brain. You got both of those there. The monkey brain would definitely be the greedy side, getting you into that trade, hoping for the riches. And that's the one you've got to try and like control a little bit, like have the brain side audit the monkey actions and just say, hey, based on previous events, this is not a good idea because I mean, unless you've had 100% success, you won't know, you won't know what failure means. But I don't think anyone has. So I think you just got to focus on controlling yourself, and then you have a little bit more luck with the trades, right? You have a little bit more luck with getting anywhere in this sort of game. Okay. So please continue to watch my videos on these updates for Bitcoin, the trade, because you might learn something or you might not. But also, please like it. Hit the boost button, right? Just rocket that shit up, up, up. Let's see if we can get some more people watching this, right? Wouldn't it be nice? It would be great. Come on, let's do it. Thanks for watching.